The line at the book signing weaves through the aisles of the bookstore, a colorful serpent of eager faces and fluttering pages. The air buzzes with chatter and the subtle rustle of paper. I'm nestled behind a small table adorned with stacks of my latest novel, pen in hand, the fluorescent light casting a soft halo around me. "Next, please," I say, smiling as a young woman slides her book toward me, her excitement palpable. As I scribble my name, another figure approaches, distinct against the sea of mundane. A middle-aged man, his face etched with lines of worry and a cautious hope. He clutches a copy of my book to his chest like a precious relic. "Can you please sign my book? It's for my son. He recently lost one eye in an accident." "You can sign it for the little pirate," he says, his voice breaking slightly on the last words. A warm rush fills my chest, and I nod, touched by his request. Of course, it would be my honor. As I write the inscription, "For the little pirate, with all adventures ahead," he watches intently, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Thank you," he whispers, clutching the book even tighter as he walks away. The rest of the afternoon blurs into smiles and signatures, but the image of the man and his heartfelt request lingers in my mind. Hours later, back at my quiet, neatly kept home, the chaos of the day unwinds as I retreat to the solitude of my bedroom. I'm ready to collapse into the comfort of routine, but a glimpse of something on the nightstand catches my eye, a copy of my book, the one I've been signing all day. Curious, I pick it up and the inscription hits me like a cold wave. "For the little pirate." How did it end up here? Puzzled, I wander through the silent house, the question gnawing at me. Something feels off. The air seems charged, and a faint noise from the end of the hall draws my attention. The door to our guest room is ajar, a sliver of light spilling out. Heart pounding, I push the door open, and the scene before me freezes my blood. My wife, entangled with someone I know too well, a friend, a confidant. The betrayal slices through me, sharp and unexpected. Their startled faces turn to me, horror mirrored in their eyes, as they scramble for cover. But the damage is done. The trust, the years, everything shatters in an instant. I can explain, she stammers, her voice trembling. But the sight of them, so vulnerable and yet so distant from the sanctity of our marriage, ignites a fury I've never known. I storm out, the image seared into my mind, the book clutched in my hand, a mocking reminder of the day's earlier warmth. As the night grows heavy around me, a dark resolution forms. They have broken the unspoken vows, and for that, they will have their lives irrevocably changed. The plan begins to take shape, a sinister shadow growing in the corners of my betrayed heart. This isn't just the end. It's the beginning of their end. Night has fallen, a blanket of darkness draping over the city as I sit alone in a dimly lit bar at the edge of town. The clink of glasses and the low murmur of conversations act as a backdrop to my roiling thoughts. I need allies, or at least someone to lend an ear to my furious, shattered heart. A figure slides into the seat beside me, his presence immediately commanding. Derek, an old college friend and now a private investigator, raises an eyebrow as he catches the stormy look on my face. "What's got you looking like you're about to commit a crime?" he asks, half joking, as he signals the bartender. I hesitate, the words bitter on my tongue. I might just be, I confess, turning to face him squarely. The shock on his face urges me to continue. "I caught them, Derek. In our house. In our bed." His expression darkens, his posture shifting from casual to alert. "Who?" "My wife and my agent, Paul." The words are like venom, and saying them out loud stings anew. Derek's hand claps onto my shoulder, his grip firm. "What are you planning to do?" I look into his eyes, my resolve hardening. "I want to ruin them, Derek. Both of them. I want them to pay for this betrayal." He nods, understanding flashing in his gaze. "I'm in. What do you need?" Before I can answer, the bar door swings open, letting in a gust of cold air and another person I recognize, Lana, a sharp-witted lawyer who's never lost a case and another old friend. She spots us and heads over, her heels clicking decisively on the wooden floor. "Derek, what a surprise." and her eyes narrow slightly as she takes in my disheveled state. "What's the occasion?" "We're just planning a little revenge," Derek quips, but his tone is serious. Lana raises an eyebrow, intrigued. "Go on." As I lay out the events and my desire for retribution, Lana listens intently, her mind already ticking over the legal ramifications and possibilities. "I can handle the legal side of things," she says once I finish. "Make sure they can't wriggle out with a simple apology or a payout." With my cadre assembled, we plot into the night. Derek will gather evidence, documenting every indiscretion and breach of trust. Lana will prepare the legal groundwork to freeze their assets and ensure that the fallout is not just personal but financial. As for me, I will write. Not just another book, but blog posts, articles, perhaps even interviews, turning public opinion against them, using my influence as a weapon. They've tarnished my life with their lies, I'll tarnish their reputations with the truth. Our meeting ends with a pact sealed not by a handshake, but by a shared resolve for justice, or at least what justice feels like to a scorned heart. As I step out into the chilly night, the path ahead is clear, and my allies are steadfast. The storm is just beginning, and I am its eye. The morning light spills coldly across the city as I sit across from Derek in a crowded cafe, its windows steaming from the warmth in the clatter of dishes and the hum of early risers provide a bustling soundtrack to our clandestine meeting. Derek slides a folder across the table to me, his eyes sharp. "Everything you need is in here," he whispers, sipping his coffee. "Photos, texts, emails." It's damning. I open the folder, my hands almost trembling. The evidence is irrefutable, the betrayal documented in painful detail. "This will do nicely," I murmur, feeling a mix of satisfaction and disgust. Derek leans back, watching me closely. "What's the next step?" I glance around before leaning forward, lowering my voice. "We go public. I have a contact at a major news outlet. It's time everyone knew the kind of people they idolize." Nodding, Derek agrees, "Just give me the word, and I'll make sure the press gets a copy too." "Scorched earth?" "Scorched earth," I confirm grimly. Later that day, I meet Lana in her sleek, modern office, the skyline sprawling behind her through vast windows. She's prepared, her laptop open and documents lined up like soldiers ready for battle. "As soon as you release your story, they'll come at you with everything they have," she advises, tapping her screen where a draft of a lawsuit lies. "We'll counter with this. Breach of contract, emotional distress, adultery, everything that applies." Her readiness fuels my resolve. "Do it. File as soon as the news breaks." She smiles, a fierce gleam in her eyes. "With pleasure." By evening, the story is everywhere. Social media explodes, news channels pick it up, and my phone buzzes incessantly. I watch from the shadows of my home, the digital world alight with the scandal. The public's reaction is swift and brutal. My name, linked with betrayal and heartbreak, only fuels their veracity for the drama. Paul calls me, his voice desperate. "You need to pull back. This is getting out of hand." I cut him off, icy calm. "You should have thought of that before." It's too late. When my wife tries to reach me, I ignore her calls. The pain she's caused is still too raw, her pleas for forgiveness now just static in the chaos I've unleashed. As the night deepens, I reflect on the web I've woven. Derek's evidence and Lana's legal threats have cornered my betrayers, their reputations, and live slowly crumbling under public scrutiny. But there's no joy in this victory, only the bitter taste of revenge. As I prepare for the next onslaught, I realize this is just the beginning. There are more moves to make, more secrets to uncover. The game has changed, and I'm leading the play. But at what cost? The shadows in my heart whisper that the price might just be my own soul. The city is drenched in the soft grey of pre-dawn as I make my way to an unassuming cafe, one far from the usual buzz of media and scandal. Inside, I find Derek already waiting, his expression unreadable in the dim light. "Everything's in place," he announces as I sit. His voice is low, but carries a weight of finality. but there's something you need to see first. He slides a tablet across the table. I activate the screen, and a video begins to play. It's my wife, tear-stained and visibly shaken, speaking directly to the camera. "I know you'll never forgive me," she says, "but there's something you don't know about Paul and me." My breath catches as she reveals a secret that reshapes everything. Paul is terminally ill, diagnosed just before the affair began. Their connection was not born of love, but of a shared desperation and fear of looming mortality. The tablet clatters onto the table as I look up at Derek. "Why didn't you tell me this before?" Derek sighs, a mix of frustration and sympathy in his eyes. "You weren't ready to hear it. You wanted revenge, not reasons." The cafe feels suddenly claustrophobic, the walls closing in as the weight of her words, and my actions, sink in. My plot for revenge, so meticulously crafted with Derek and Lana, now seems a grotesque overreaction to a situation I never fully understood. With a heavy heart, I leave the cafe and wander the awakening streets, lost in thought. By mid-morning, I find myself outside Lana's office, the city alive around me. She greets me with a nod, her demeanor professional yet expectant. "I've seen the video," I begin without preamble. "We need to pull back. Drop the lawsuits, stop the presses, everything." Lana looks taken aback but quickly masks her surprise. "Are you sure? After everything?" "Yes," I interrupt, firm despite the turmoil inside. "It's over." The backlash from halting the legal and media onslaught is immediate and severe. The public feels cheated, hungry for a resolution that now will never come. My reputation suffers, but the relief of stopping the juggernaut of revenge is palpable. Days turn into weeks, and the storm of scandal slowly subsides. One afternoon, I find myself at the same bookstore where this all began, my hands hesitantly opening a new book. It's a memoir, my memoir, detailing the entire ordeal, but focusing on forgiveness and understanding, not vengeance. As I arrange my signing table, the first in line is an unexpectedly familiar face, Paul, thinner and paler than before, but with a gentle smile. "I wanted to thank you," he says softly, handing me a copy of my book to sign. "For stopping when you did." I nod, accepting his gratitude and the unspoken apology that hangs between us. "And I'm sorry for everything," I reply, feeling the weight of my previous actions. He shakes his head slightly. "No, I should have been honest with you from the start." We part with a mutual respect, a hard-earned peace settling between us. As the line dwindles, a young boy approaches, his eye patch a stark reminder of the innocent beginnings of this saga. For the little pirate, he beams, handing me his book. This time, as I write the inscription, it feels like a promise, a vow to look beyond the surface, to seek understanding before judgment. The boy's smile, wide and unguarded, is a balm to my weary heart. As he walks away, I realize the true cost of truth and the real value of forgiveness. The intrigue, once so captivating, has given way to a simpler, starker reality that everyone has a story, and sometimes the real challenge is just listening to it.